What is going on, citizens of the Reject Nation? We're watching Acolyte Thrests today, amigos. Hey, Michael, Mikhail. How you doing, buddy? You excited for Acolyte?
Yo soy, me gusto Star Wars.
That's some great Hebrew right there.
No, I'm so jazzed.
Guys, leave a like. Use the Force to leave a like. Also, tell us what you think about this episode. Is it great? Is it good? Is it mid? Is it lower tier? Leave it in the comments.
Does it put the mid glory?
Oh, nicely done. Also, subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when our reaction for episode 4 is up here on the channel. Thanks to Prepper for helping Michael look good. He is our Star Wars aficionado. And our full-length reaction watch-alongs where you sync up with your own copy of Acolyte. That's available for our Super Sexy Rejects over at our Patreon page. Over there, John and I cover several things exclusively with highlights and watch-alongs included. Michael, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm a super sexy patron.
I know, we forced you.
No, I have 2 accounts. I can't figure out how to delete one.
Well,
can you help me with who do I talk to?
No. I pretend that I can't help.
Darn.
And that's how you profit.
But how does this lead to Palpatine becoming a clone?
Oh my God. Brendok.
Why, I like that 16 years. Oh, flashback.
Yeah, this is her planet. Oh, we might get Carrie-Anne Moss.
Told you, Greg.
Yes. That's
Finally.
just as good.
Looks like a willow tree.
That's beautiful.
Oh, look at those bird insects.
It's actually cool that they established what their younger counterparts look like. Yeah, so it's easy to adjust to it right away.
I'm kind of curious, like, what they... Ooh.
Whoop.
Oh, this is May.
Is she trying to kill it?
Yeah. Rip the wings off.
May, how did you know I was here? When I can't find you, I look here.
Oh, interesting. Little subversion.
Buntu tree's so beautiful. But Osha, it's dangerous. Only if we eat it. Let it go, May. Stop!
You're dangerous, May.
Why do you always run off alone? I don't want to do the ascension. It's just a ceremony.
Oh, curious. Their culture practices the Force in their own way.
Can we stay here a little longer? Let's go home.
All this will burn.
Oshi, I am with you. Always one, born as 2.
Always one, but born as 2, Michael.
Always one. I'm still a Jew.
How many times have I told you? It is not safe out here.
Sorry, Mother Coral.
This doesn't look dangerous at all.
There will be consequences for breaking the rules.
It isn't fair. I'm old enough to go outside the fortress walls.
The rules are for your safety.
I'm kind of curious if there's some kind of like Dathomir magic sort of connection here.
I feel like there's some witchcraft involved, yeah. I think that's why they probably burned them down and stuff.
It's just kind of interesting. I mean, there's so many ways the Jedi and the Sith are just 2 means by which to navigate through the living Force.
May we have some spice creams?
Those are not for little girls who run away from home.
Yeah, also spice is drugs. Do you want to buy some death sticks?
Let them have some spice creams.
Mama!
Oh, kind of interesting.
My sweet girls must have sweet treats.
Even though they broke the rules?
Don't you think so, Coral?
Kind of a peculiar dynamic here, right?
No, they have moms.
Plural?
Yeah, they said that in one of the episodes. Your mom's...
Oh, okay.
It's a progressive show, Michael.
Well, I wasn't sure if mother is a title.
Or lovers.
Any sign of the visiting Jedi?
None. Our scouts think they've moved their ship inland.
I told you.
Well,
this
we have that answer.
Haven for our coven.
And we have that answer, too.
There is witchcraft.
Like that the first like openly gay couple is also witches. Is not.
I've always deferred to you when raising the twins, but you're too lenient. A firm hand is required.
Osha is testing her boundaries. It's normal behavior for a child.
And a Sith Lord.
The twins are not normal children.
I mean, you're not normal people. I don't mean that in a homophobic way. I just mean by the witchcraft way. I just gotta clarify.
All living things are connected by the same thread.
Force.
A thread woven through all of existence.
Omnipresent.
Some call it a force and claim to use it. But we know the thread is not a power you wield.
Oh, so May was like very anti-Jedi.
It ties you to your destiny. It binds you to others.
A true Force exploration, I should say. It's cool, like some Tai Chi maneuvers. Hands intertwined.
Oh, interesting.
Yo, girls, they're like so not paying attention.
I'm taking that direction a little too hard.
Your enemies will not warn you before they attack.
That's a great way to get someone to listen.
Block me.
Great use of sound design here.
Excellent, May.
Osha, I expect more from you.
So May was the one with all the potential, but darkness reigned in her.
Well, it's the anger. Easier to draw out first. It's so fun exploring the Force from outside the Jedi perspective.
I don't want to do the Ascension, but that's how we become witches. I don't know if I want to be a witch. Of course you want that. No, you want that.
Probably felt like you need to become a witch in order to protect yourself. Raised to be a witch, trained in the ways of a Jedi. That's neat. That's some compelling stuff.
Especially having been taught the Jedi and their vision of what the Force is all wrong.
Yeah.
This is your sister. The thread tied you together before you were born. Tell her you love her.
I love you. I love you.
I tolerate you.
I like you too, Greg.
Ascension is about walking through fear. It is about sacrificing a part of yourself. The power of many instead of the power of one.
Give up to go up.
The galaxy is not a place that welcomes women like us. Witches who have the abilities we do. You and your sister are special, Osha.
This is fascinating. They're really going to paint the Jedi like the bad guys.
It's almost like they're a lighter, brighter, happier version of the Night Sisters. And
They're coming across like humans and not evil witches. We're the Night Sisters. Like
they're on that threshold, though, right? I mean,
no, they're doing like maybe their ascension and rituals.
How many spice creams are you gonna eat tonight? I think I'll eat at least 4. What are you drawing? Stop! Don't look.
spice creams. Sorry, the writing's stressing me out.
Don't you wonder what could be out there besides Brendock? No, why not? Everything I need is here.
It was. I do appreciate an episode that will let you just stay with the flashback versus trying to get it in like micro doses.
If you're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
Pulling some really cool bits and pieces of lore from the expanded universe.
I mean, they could be tied to the Dathmoir witches.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a break-off section. I mean, they kind of established that a little bit in Ahsoka.
Wow, they were daughters of the actual leader.
It's also interesting that they're from all different species.
We were hunted, persecuted, forced into hiding, all because some would consider our power dark.
Oh.
They labeled it.
We were on the brink of extinction.
Oh, the Jedi just wanted to hold the power.
We were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life.
Oh, were they born
They were born without a father. They're like Jesus Christ.
like Anakin?
Just Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's so
they're like
interesting.
they're labeled as dark via from the Jedi and such, but in their eyes, this is like the miracle children, the saviors.
Oh, they're the embodiments of the living force. They are products of it.
Come, claim your destiny.
But if we know anything, it's that theoretically Anakin was created by the dark side.
Yeah.
Almost makes you wonder if maybe that's the same case here.
What the thread has tied together, no one can separate.
Okay, they're playing with some really cool themes here.
Power of one, the power of two.
Well, they were born as twins, and it's I think one was born light side, one was born dark side.
Which is something they play around with in Old Republic lore. There's a famous pair of twins. One went to the dark, one went to the light. Always two there are.
Mayho and Asaya, do you vow upon my death to protect the secrets of our coven and continue our legacy?
Wow, she made this promise just right then and there. So that's her drive.
Yeah, she's not really following the dark side. She's following this pledge.
I wonder if Osha didn't make the pledge. The mark.
She doesn't have the mark. The sister doesn't have the mark. Oh, man, I have so many questions.
Do you vow upon my death to protect the secrets of our coven and continue our legacy?
I
Need a minute?
too.
With a question mark. I'm Ron Burgundy.
Mama, the Jedi!
They've sliced the platform. Hide them.
Do not move. Do not make a sound.
Put down your weapons.
No violence.
So cool to get it on the perspective. What a challenge. And they're pacifist about it. Is that Torben?
Baby Torben.
Or sorry, balding from all the stress.
Yeah.
I am Master Indara, and these are my colleagues, Sol, Kelnaka, and my Padawan, Torben.
Padawan, huh? Okay.
Look at their robes. How they wear their sabers.
Oh, admiring them.
What do you want?
We are concerned that you are training children. The Republic lost.
Brendock is not a part of the Republic.
Oh, interesting.
There are no children here.
What about those 2 kids?
Come out. We won't hurt you.
Do they just take her?
So the Jedi and Republic law clearly outlawed them from practicing.
That marking, it wasn't there this morning.
You're spying on us? They want to take our children!
The Jedi do not take children.
Hold your tongue or I cut it out for you!
Hey, Soul.
So, no.
That's a very unique method.
I think you would make a very good Jedi, Osha. Would you like to be tested and see if you could become one?
Yes.
Wow.
Please.
Yes, please. They struck first.
Please let me take the test.
Mother Anastasia, you cannot deny that Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans. With your permission, of course.
I like how she's trying to be diplomatic about it. The tension in this scene.
The scouts will bring Osha to your camp at midday.
Her sister, too.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Oh, okay. I felt like the Jedi just came in and were like slaughtering them. They tried being civil.
Gather my advisors.
But who struck first?
Yeah, I don't feel like this story went the way they all think it went.
We make our move tonight.
I urge you to remain calm.
One drop of Jedi blood, and the Republic would destroy us.
There are only 4 Jedi. Who would miss them?
Oh, no. Love how political this is.
We don't have a choice.
Osha wants to do it.
Osha is a child.
She is old enough to know what she wants.
I did not bring the girls into this world so we could lose them to a bunch of deranged monks.
It is not your decision.
View them as deranged monks. That's probably how they view them.
I carried them.
I created them.
And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?
Oh, wow.
Test has 2 outcomes.
Where were you hiding?
Pass or fail. If they pass, the girls leave.
Yes.
If we want them to stay.
Yeah.
How will we know how to fail?
I don't know what they will ask you, but whatever's in your heart, you must say the opposite.
If we pass, they take us away. We never see Mama again.
What a conflict. I love how multi-layered it is.
The Jedi are bad. The Jedi are good.
Because at the end of the day, Osha's not getting her own choice.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it. You're a very powerful girl.
No, this episode's like boosting the points for the show for me for a lot.
It's time. Come, my loves.
Okay, Cersei.
This is the most Game of Thrones feeling episode they've done. I love how she looks upon the Jedi with such awe.
Well, I mean, it's like young Anakin. I mean, you've been stuck on a planet your whole life, and
Yeah.
I don't want to lie. You have to lie.
Nay, you will go first.
Promise me. Fine. I promise.
And you just know it's going to go like so horribly wrong, too.
Do all Jedis get one of those?
After much training,
Ow. What are you doing?
I was just taking a blood sample.
M count.
In this test, you must divine what images appear on the testing screen. Tell us what you see.
Same test for centuries, huh?
it ain't broke, don't fix it.
A spaceship.
Correct. How about this next one?
A mountain.
Correct.
That wasn't a
Oh, damn. Soul's good. That is good.
She also fell that trap real quick.
What do you want, Osha? I was younger than you are. When the Jedi tested me, I was only 4.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, you at least need like an orientation to see if this is what you really want.
Yeah, right. Life of celibacy.
I knew I was different from my family.
They were Caucasian.
Getting some good dialogue, and you have to ruin it, Greg.
But when I joined the Jedi, I found out there were many other children like me.
There are other children there?
Thousands like us.
Thousands.
But you must have the courage to say what you want.
I want to be a Jedi.
Ah, no. That's what...
We should continue the test.
The threat is just building.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you can't really blame her family at the same time.
No,
It's
I mean,
they
it
show
all-
up and they're like, "We want your kid," you know.
Well, I think there's a longer term conflict.
Of course. Yeah.
I told him I wanted to be a Jedi because I do. I want my own life. I want to see the galaxy. What's wrong with you?
Go and take a walk, May. Take a walk with Mother Coral. Now!
Just call her Mama. Stuff is like never handled in private.
I mean, it's the whole family.
Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. You get to make a choice. If you want to pull the thread, then pull it.
Okay.
I'll never see you again.
You won't. Fear should not make this decision, Osha. You should.
Those are just wise words in general.
I want to be a Jedi, Mama. I do.
What a hard conversation.
What a powerful child. What a great mom. Ugh.
I must discuss the situation with everyone here, but we will consider your wish when we do so.
Gotta let her go.
I love you, Mama.
I love you. Now go.
Wow. That makes everyone dying even worse.
I mean, they said that like May was the one responsible for this, so I'm just like, she lash out? What happens here?
Oh, wow. She's really been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah, I thought it was just presented with her.
You can't go. We're stuck here now.
Stuck here now?
You can't stop me. Yes, I can. How? I'll kill you.
Little light push.
I won't let it happen. May, please!
So she just like snapped.
Yes.
I mean, her whole identity being threatened, her love, there's a lot of layers to it.
Oh,
damn,
my heart
May.
is racing right now, man.
What? May just totally snapped.
Dude, it happens. I mean, she's been raised her entire life to think that the only way that she can be powerful is with both of them.
Yeah.
And now, of course, all the witches are going to think that the Jedi are behind this.
Holy shit. This got carried away.
Come over to me! Where's Mama?
The divide.
Mama's dead. What have you done? What have you done? Osha!
And that's when they thought May died. And then Tamara when she was an adult and he caught her. It's like poetry.
We must keep going.
I have so many questions still.
We still know exactly what went down. Because it seems like it's implied that May did all this. But Torben's apologized and took the poison.
Yeah,
and May's getting revenge and stuff.
This is really just from...
This is just from Osha's perspective, her POV of when it was
We're
going
still
down.
missing the full picture.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sick to do that.
Yeah.
At least, God, I hope that that's the move.
I mean, if it's like the Jedi tell lies and then Osha's been living a lie.
That better be what it is.
That's what I think.
Or else I have a lot of complaints.
Why is May so driven?
There's just a lot of bodies everywhere.
Yeah, May's so damn driven. But why would the Jedi just like annihilate all of them? Something went down.
Where am I?
We are on our way to Coruscant.
What happened?
Great question.
May started a fire. It destroyed everything.
How did all those bodies drop?
You have to go back. We have to go back.
No, we can't.
This little girl's a great actor.
There is nothing back there. You'll be safe on Coruscant. And if you wish, you're trained as my Padawan.
Wow, this is such a father-daughter. Like immediately, it's like I'm adopting you.
He feels really responsible.
Yeah.
There is way more to this. Soul did something really bad.
I mean, like even in the test, he was willing to lie.
You will never feel like this again.
You will never feel like this again, huh?
What happened, Greg?
Because during the test, they showed he lied a little. He lied twice to her.
Oh, the tree.
The test. She's back home.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, just showing that she survived. Whoa, that was wild. I like that episode a lot.
Yeah,
I think that's a way. I enjoyed 1 and 2, and I had my criticisms about how some of the writing was going down and such. Even though there's lots to still appreciate, I feel like this episode. I mean, I have no idea what people's opinions are. My personal opinion, I like this episode more than the last two.
Yeah.
By kind of a lot, actually. Like, it's not perfect to me. There's still some, like, tad clunky. They're more nip in the grand scheme of the entire episode. Those things don't stand out to me as much of a takeaway as, like, something that I find to be, like, where the critical side of me comes out and, like, zeroes in on it. Like, I'm more like, whatever, that moment was a little off or whatever.
Yeah.
But for most of this, like, I love the mood. I love the lore building. I love the atmosphere. I love the perspective challenge. And I really like how they're dealing with this other side of the Jedi, because you spend like 2 episodes going like Acolyte, bad, Jedi, good detectives hunting down the bad. with little hints, and then to take the perspective of Osha and May's family and see like this conflict that was brewing and kind of this like unfairness of like law and order in this kind of like draconian manner of like the Republic says, it's kind of like we stepping on your covenant, your ritual, and your beliefs. Like it's a little messed up. And to see that side of it, but to keep it like multi-layered for like Osha actually being drawn and desiring it, but still seeing kind of the ugliness but then the teases of like we created them and there's like so much that happened here that I find I was like, oh, this is compelling stuff. Like this is actually like compelling to me, and great acting too, great acting all around. So yeah, I like that episode a lot.
Well, it's the first time I have felt there is a mystery in our mystery series,
right?
Because I think it took me all of 5 seconds to be like, there's a twin. But this following the POV of Osha, and especially that you not fully realizing that until you get to the very end, was, I thought, very, very clever from a narrative and just a cinematic perspective.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Because you're like, oh, I'm beginning to fully understand this, only to end the episode with so many more questions than you started with, and with so much more at stake for the larger narrative.
But the questions come in because of they stick you in the flashback, but then you think about other things that went down in the last 2 episodes. We're like, but that doesn't line up.
No, the math is not mathing.
Why,
and
that Torben scene especially creates a big hole
but
in this.
But it's all of them. I think Torben's really hits.
Torben's scene specifically,
because the worst thing he did was give this girl a shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I gotta off. Sorry, gotta be sad now.
Yeah, because he said we thought we were doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it can't just be we visited this planet.
And then your sister snapped.
Because it happens. But it's also interesting. I love that they picked this era because part of why I think it's such an interesting storytelling playground is that it is the end of the High Republic. It is not the High Republic. It is watching the beginning of the demise of the Jedi and watching all of the foundational elements of this institution and seeing just how twisted and wrong they were and are, and how all of that eventually snowballs into what eventually becomes, the fall of the Jedi.
I mean, too much power always corrupts, and like this episode, while they were talking about the Force or whatever they call it, the thread, in terms of like power, the way they're painting the Jedi here is like, look what happens with power with anyone who gains too much power, the Jedi included.
And we don't have the full context here of, it sounds like the Jedi and the Republic have outlawed, hunted down, and prevented them from recruiting, having children, having any sort of, and maybe it's justified. We don't know. But what that says to me is that the Jedi have imposed their very particular monolithic view of the Force
the right word for
on the galaxy at large. And I think that also kind of gets back to what I said in the last 2 episodes, which is, if this ends with the Jedi discovering that the Sith are back and they actively choose to hide that from the Jedi High Council and from the archives, it enhances and turns the rest of all of Star Wars into such a beautifully sad tragedy.
Yeah.
Because it just echoes all of that sentiment.
I like that. I know some people, when they saw the trailer for this, were like, this doesn't line up with the canon.
Yeah.
And I think they probably
acknowledge
I'm going to hope that they know that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to see the plot. This seems like really like knowledgeable.
Leslie Headland has done such a phenomenal job, despite and listen, and I think there's some fair criticisms around the writing, and I think there's, but it's the first season of a new show in a new era. There's going to be some growing pains. I think that's A-okay. But what has been so exceptionally phenomenal is the integration of lore and aspects of the storytelling from the Old Republic, from the expanded universe, from all these different treasure troves.
Yeah.
And they've sprinkled it all in where it's just like little tiny, it's not like in your face, but they've like slowly canonized a lot of really wonderful things.
Sure, absolutely.
And I feel like it's been so organic and has been really, really enjoyable. And for me, this has just turned the High Republic era into something that I'm like, yeah, I want to see more of this.
Absolutely.
And because now I'm like, I want to watch the politics of this. Like I want to like,
unlike what episode 1 did. I'm like, the politics here are very interesting.
Yeah, like
These
what's
are
going
really
on
interesting politics. Yeah,
like even when they're like, we can't let the Senate know about this. I'm like, I want to know what's going on with that
because this feels like very like of course
Phantom
Game of Thrones fantasy. I was going to say too.
Yeah,
because like
Phantom Menace.
When you see you compare to when people say like a Game of Thrones, House of Dragon are all about politics.
Yeah,
and Star Wars is it's part of its DNA, but it's not all about that.
Yeah.
And I think when you get an episode like this, it does make you go, oh, it's like that fantasy world politics where Phantom Menace felt like, oh my God, this seems like I'm in social studies class kind of politics,
Well, I think it's a difference between a feature film and a long form television series, right?
Yeah.
Like Phantom Menace, we had waited since Return of the Jedi for a Star Wars film. And then we immediately start with a trade dispute, but like building up to the Clone Wars, and then being able to explore the politics through that, was really fascinating, and I really enjoyed, and I think that's kind of
I like the cultural politics, of this a lot,
and I think it's an interesting time at the Republic because it's like they are expanding, and that's part of what the Jedi are, they're out there in the mid rim and the outer rim, but the Republic's idea of expansion may kind of maybe come off a little bit like, colonies, and
totally,
and it might not be the best thing in the world, and I think that's such an interesting way to look at like, oh, maybe this is why things weren't so great by the time we get to this era. And it's cool to be able to see that and to explore those different themes, but in a galaxy far, far away.
It's like the 1950s. People are always like, the 50s were great, best time, and then you're like,
I see what you're saying.
But then how clean and pretty and awesome
it's clean and pretty, and then
the
you're like,
vibes they gave off, and then you deep dive, you're like, this is like really nasty.
People really weren't that nice to each other. Yeah. But everybody had a refrigerator, so yippee! No, it's on it. That's a great. I think that's a great metaphor. And there's also this sense that we are. Nothing can go wrong,
right?
Which isn't always the case in the 1950s. Of course, the Cold War kicks in, but I think that's kind of the situation the Jedi are in, like. There's been smaller instances of like little threats to the galaxy, but there hasn't been a like, oh crap, the Sith are back,
right?
Sort of like, in need of a clone army sort of threat to the galaxy. But to kind of keep it back and focused on this episode, I just I really, really enjoyed getting to explore the Force in a way that was outside like the parameters of the Jedi. I think any chance we have to do that, it's just neat and interesting and fun. And even though the vernacular is different, the philosophy is the same, which I think is like kind of can be said of like any interesting religion. Like doesn't matter where you are. There's a lot of like the same themes and ideas.
It's treated like a what's the word? It was like Catholicism, Christianity, Mormon. Is is a D word. Oh God, forget denomination.
Different denominations of the Force.
Exactly.
And it's kind of interesting that there is this kind of intersection, and even Sith, they are fundamentally what Satanism is to Catholicism. You know, like they are fundamentally the same belief system, just on the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they subscribe, I think, to the same underlying, like, well, this guy's this guy, and that guy's that guy. You know, but exist in that same kind of dichotomy. That's actually probably a terrible metaphor now that I'm thinking about it, as it's way more about balance than it is about, you know, Satan and God and all that.
But I just really loved that you got the witches' perspective in a way, because normally when you see the witches, it is not from their perspective where you're like, oh, they are just like human beings, you know?
No, it was good to humanize them. I also thought the inter-species element of it was also really interesting too, where... Because we've seen witches, we've seen covens.
They're all Dathmir.
Yeah, but they're all from Dathomir. And I thought that was kind of a unique... but it also now kind of poses the question of, like, I wonder how many of them there used to be. And I wonder if the Jedi wiped them all out.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, man, what else did they erase from the Jedi archives? God, it's so interesting, and, you know, but...
And it makes their main characters... that much more. This episode also did the most important job, which is
make you care
way more about your main characters.
Make me care, but I'm also like
Soul included.
Soul. I was gonna say Soul to me has now become Soul is already like a character that I'm like I really like you. Now I'm really invested in him.
Yeah. That's how I felt about everyone.
Yeah.
It's like, I like you guys.
No,
am I really invested? And now
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm invested now.
Yeah. So it'll be exciting to see where it goes. I think the biggest challenge that they have is I want to see everything from May's perspective.
Yeah.
And what do we have? We have 8 episodes altogether?
I believe so.
So this is episode 3. All right. I feel like they got plenty of time to...
Yeah, because even from this perspective, they just treated May like some horror kid child.
That is May is the one character that I'm very worried about them not
sticking the landing on.
It's a hard... Anytime you're dealing with a character that is like kind of messed up, kind of evil, there's not a lot of redeeming stuff going on there. Like, what else was... I guess my question is, has May been manipulated since even before this is my question.
Fascinating.
I can finally speculate.
Yeah.
You know, because that's number one. How did May get off the planet? That's a question.
Maybe the Sith came to her,
or in a like kind. And I listen. I think that could be kind of sick if we find out that like May has been having like creepy like evil voice in her head conversations with like the Sith Lord and her, you know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Who's like being like the little demon being like, you should kill your family.
Yeah.
You know, you should burn your sister on fire.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. That would be interesting. Because they haven't really done anything to build up the Sith yet.
And also just to explain her snapping in that sort of fashion. Because I'm not sure I buy her being that upset in order to like light the whole place on fire. I'm not sure I buy it, but maybe from her perspective, my opinion will change. So,
well,
but
in the meantime, close enough
about our opinions. We're sick of talking. We want to hear what you think, and I guarantee that I will listen and read your opinions, and I will comment on them, and I will be like, "That's a really great point," and I wish I would have thought of that and said something. What did you think? Leave your comments in the comment section below.
Do it.
Not to be confused with the other sections below.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to use the Force, or in this case, use the thread. You can't use the thread. The thread, pull the thread.
Your outros are just never
to ooze alike.
They're just never
They're never succinct. Well, I'm not good like you, Greg. I'm not an influencer. I am Michael Tesla.
You are an influencer.
I am.
You must accept that.
I am a witch.
You're the ultimate influencer.
We love you guys. Thank you for watching, and we will see you for episode 4 next week.
Tune in, peeps. Tune in. Michael B. Miguel. This month, we are shouting out our patrons and going, which celebrity they remind us of the most? And wow. Not even a second thought goes into this of who you remind us of. It's just like, hear you talk, look at you, and it's just crystal. You know? Instantly know who it is. I'm like, just comes to mind instantaneously. That is, of course.
Was that a clue? Or should I not be focusing on the name Crystal?
It's not Billy Crystal.
Okay, it's definitely not Billy Crystal. No,
it's John Goodman.
It's John Goodman, of course.
You are easily the John Goodman of our Patreon.
You are.
Do I need to explain why?
Nah, I don't think you do. I think Michael knows why.
I mean, if you go to Omni Media, you will discover. You're gonna be like, he's totally got a John Goodman vibe.
Am I watching John Goodman break down this movie right now?
And like, I didn't know there was a whole channel dedicated to the Connors.
What? Why does John Goodman even need to be on YouTube?
This is not John Goodman. This is a guy cosplaying as John Goodman.
Cosplay channel.
This is a cover channel of John Goodman.
Of John Goodman's life and experiences.
This is a cover of what John Goodman's like when he's watching movies and shows.
Yeah, he interrupts a lot. It turns out, which is funny for a guy who makes these things.
Because you're so friendly. Mm-hmm. I think you were once huge,
but now you're intermediately fit.
Yeah, I think. You still kind of look it, even though. Now I'm just talking about John Goodman.
Oh, we've come full circle.
I'm not even talking about you.
We're not shouting out the actual celebrity.
I'm just saying, the John Goodman thing's kind of confusing.
Sure.
He lost a bunch of weight, but he still looks the exact same.
Yes.
And that's the dichotomy I'm in when looking at John Goodman.
John Goodman, he's like one of those guys who was always old. He's just always a rotund guy.
Like, you still look. You're not large anymore, but why do you still look large? That's your problem in life, Michael.
Yeah,
is you're not large.
You're not large, and you could get large.
People are constantly going. But whenever I think of Michael, I think of a large guy.
I think of Michael all the time.
I don't know what it is about you, dude. That's why I couldn't meet up with you when you were at LAX. I didn't think you'd fit in the car.
Oh, and you already had to buy 2 seats.
Yeah.
On the plane.
And you said it was for your luggage.
Yeah.
We know what that means. Ass and other seats.
Just let me put my ass over here. I'll just lean my hip onto this other chair. What the things you got to be comfortable on a long flight, especially if you're coming out to visit. Or not visit.
Sad times, Michael. Sad time. Whatever. We shout your channel out every month, man.
Yeah, this is free promo for you.
Break,
you should be thankful.
You're John Goodman. John Goodman will be happy to be John Goodman.
Yeah, John Goodman's prolific. You're saying it's not good enough? Yeah. When will you be happy with John Goodman's career?
Just shut up, Michael. Piss me off.
Pissing me on.